All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. My name is Johnny Girardi, DataSelf's founder and CEO. Thank you very much for making the time today to learn more about data warehousing and analytics for Sage 300. We have a busy agenda, so let's get started. We'll talk about business challenges that are addressed by data warehousing analytics. We'll talk about the pros and cons of data warehousing. We'll talk about Tableau and Excel pulling data out of a data warehouse and how that works. We'll show you natural language query and drag and drop analytics when you're using functionality like Tableau. If you're interested in this kind of technology, should you do it yourself or should you subscribe from a vendor? And then, this part is going to be all about the education. And then we'll talk about DataSelf Analytics, which is the company that I've been leading for 15 years, time to deploy and pricing. Please make notes and you can add your questions to the Zoom chat panel and we'll address at the end at the question and answer session. All right. So what are the business challenges that people face and they should be looking at data warehousing and analytics? Well, nowadays, companies or management, when they're starting to get challenges getting fact-based decisions in a timely fashion, that's a big red flag. Why you're not getting fact-based decisions in a timely fashion. Typically, the culprits in a very high level is report complexity. If you're pulling data directly out of your data sources like Sage 300, typically building reports, distributing reports, validating reports becomes very labor intensive and very slow. So report complexity is a big challenge. Second challenge is performance. We hear many clients that when they run their reports out of their Sage systems, it takes too long. Too long can be 30 seconds, it can be minutes, it can be even hours. No matter what the problem is, if your reports are running too slowly, it might be time to go into the next level with data warehousing and analytics. The last thing is the single version of the truth. Sometimes you look at two reports that should be looking at the same metrics, the same calculations, your revenues, and the numbers don't match. Why? Well, because typically you're building your metrics at every report. There's a mistake in the process on some different calculations. Guess what? You don't have a single version of the truth. You might have many versions of the truth. So when people start having this challenge of, it's hard to see the numbers, which numbers are the right ones, it might be time to get into data warehousing and analytics. What is data warehousing in analytics? Well, pretty much what I'm showing you here quickly is source systems like Sage 300. You probably have several other data silos. You might have CRM system, Google Analytics, payroll, a bunch of Excel sheets, point of sales, no matter what. A data warehouse is a separate database that is focused on reporting only, but making reporting easy and fast. And then you can plug your reporting tools on top of it, your Excel, Power BI, Tableau, and whatnot. So what are the pros of data warehousing? Well, a lot of the advantages is because the database of the source systems, they are not designed for reporting. Like Sage 300 is a database designed for ERP purposes. So you can quickly issue invoices, issue your purchase orders, your journal entries, whatever you need to do in the ERP system, that's what the database is designed for. When you need to get data out, like for reports, then it's complex, it's slow, and if you need to glue the data together, it's just sometimes even impossible. It's very hard to deal with databases that are optimized for transactions, not for reporting. And that's the data warehouse for. You copy the data into the data warehouse. Typically, the first step is just make a copy, just mirror it. And then in the data warehouse, you can change, you can denormalize, you can add more indexes, you can glue the pieces together in a way that if you need to look at, reports out of your database, the data is clean, is simple, and is fast to retrieve. And then, again, when you use your reporting tools out of the data warehouse, much easier, much faster. So that's the main reasons why people go to data warehousing. And of course, this one is a big one for some companies. In the data warehouse, you can define how you calculate your revenues, your gross profit, your net profit, your cost of goods, your services, whatever you do, you build a single rule in the data warehouse, and all reports should pull that metric from the single location. So all reports will have a single version of the truth. It's much easier to enforce the single version of the truth when you define the rules at the data warehouse level and not at the reporting level. The reporting level, you just make slices of the KPI, but the definition of the KPI is done in the data warehouse. So those are the main pros. What are the main cons? Well, first of all, usually data warehousing requires an additional layer, the data warehouse, and there's additional some kind of cost for the data warehouse. In the past, data warehousing was very expensive. Nowadays, you can have data warehouses very inexpensive. The cost came down significantly. Typically, it requires additional skill sets. If you have people in your organization that knows how to do reports, I don't know, in Excel, reporting services, you already have a lot of the skill sets required to do data warehousing, but it takes another layer to become a data warehouse savvy person. It's no rocket science, but it takes an additional skill sets. And it takes time to deploy. If you build it yourself, it can take months and years. If you get from vendors, it might take minutes. But it takes some time to deploy that you also have to factor into your decision-making process. So these are the main cons of keeping a data warehouse framework. Let's take a quick look at an example of a data warehouse for Sage 300. And I'm going to be using a data warehouse in Microsoft SQL Server, which is one of the most popular frameworks for Sage 300. I'm going to keep this conversation very high level. So even if you're not technical, you probably can understand the concept. So I'm not going to dive deep into it. So first of all, this is the management studio for the SQL Server data warehouse. And here you can see the tables that have been copied from Sage 300 into this data warehouse. So you can probably see familiar names, and you can see some other names. What about this? Well, as I mentioned before, in data warehouse, typically you make a copy of the source data into the data warehouse, and then you optimize it for reporting. And that's what you can kind of see here. Some of these tables, if you know these tables, you can tell, yeah, these tables come from Sage 300. Yep, that's it. But then there are other tables that are not in Sage 300, but they are aggregations that are done in data warehousing to make it easier. Let me show an example. I'm going to go to this called view, a sales view. In the sales view, we have glued together to 6 tables that have invoice detail, invoice header, item information, customer, salesperson, location information. They're all glued together using SQL Server, statements. If you're not technical, what really matters to you is the output. The output of all of this technical thing is this clean table that has everything that you might care about your sales. So no matter what tables you need to be gluing together, at the end of the day, as a business person, when I want to pull my reports, when I slice and dice my data, this is what I care, my numbers, and looking at labels that are descriptive. So I don't need a manual to understand that this is my quantity shipped. This is my sales amount. It's right there in front of you. So data warehousing is like this. Make a copy of the data, use data warehousing techniques to optimize, to clean, to enhance it, to glue it, and to make it easy for reporting and make it fast. So when you run it, it runs in seconds. So that's a very quick overview of how a data warehouse looks like in Sage, from Sage. Now, how do you see the data warehouse data in tools like Tableau and Excel? And what are the benefits of doing this? So first of all, just to review again, when you're using Excel and other tools out of the data warehouse, well, now is a reporting database with all the benefits we discussed previously. It has a single version of the truth. All the metrics are previously calculated. You can set up procedures in the data warehouse that when people run a report, you're just getting the data out. You're not calculating anything, meaning the time it takes to get the result is usually seconds. Now, we have a rule in DataSelf that if a report takes longer than 10 seconds to run, most likely, most people will not wait to see the result. Therefore, that report is usually useless. What I'm saying is, in DataSelf, our rule is all reports must run in seconds, no matter how much data you have, no matter how much processing must be done. When the person opens the report, it must run instantly, or 10 seconds is the benchmark. And usually when you use data warehousing and tools like Tableau and Excel, and if you turn the dials correctly, you can deliver in that speed. It's no magic, it's technology. Data governance, a big topic for some organizations, very concerned about losing control of their data. And many of these companies using Excel as a reporting tool. Excel is amazing for a reporting tool, and with the data warehouse, you have more security controls. But I even tell people, if you're really concerned about data security and you use Excel as a main reporting tool, it's just too hard to control security. Excel has the data. And if you email the report to someone else, it's gone, someone else's hand, if it's the wrong person. Or if you have a bunch of Excel reports in your notebook and it gets stolen, well, the data is all in there. When you use other tools like, Tableau and Power BI, whatnot, you have web UI, user interface, and then you can control who can access the data. So, unless you have credentials with multi-factor authentication, nobody will see the data. So it's much easier to control data governance when you use data warehousing in these more elaborate reporting tools. Natural language query is a fairly new technology. It's about 5 years old-ish. And it's amazing how powerful you can let some users build their own reports just using plain English. You need to know English currently, the only language supported as far as I know. But if you know English and if you know how to articulate the questions, you get a lot of answers just by typing, searching the internet using Google or Bing. And when you have the data warehouse behind the scenes and all the things have been linked, reporting, even in Excel, Tableau and tools like that becomes drag and drop, much easier. A lot more users will be able to do slice and dicing without calling for IT support. So let's take a look at how Excel reporting works when you plug from a data warehouse. So now I'm bringing Excel. And actually, when you look at Excel, unless you're more technical, probably not going to see what's happening behind the scenes. But typically what I'm looking at here, this table here is actually the sales invoice table that I was showing you before, that it was all linked together with the data warehousing, all of these things that, data warehousing people do. But as a user, what I really care is the data coming out. And if you look at the data here, is the same data here. Nice descriptive names. This report is going to run in seconds. And of course, here, once the data is in Excel, you can build anything that you want. You can build the yearly, the quarterly, the monthly, the year-to-date, the pivot tables. The beauty is it will run fast and it will be more secured because the data warehouse control the rules and the security. So Excel reporting with data warehousing, a lot of those benefits in that perspective. Moving along. And actually, this is also supposed to be the natural language demo as well as the drag and drop. So let me go to that part of the demo. Let me just reload this page. What I'm going to show you now is the natural language query functionality pulling from a data warehousing as a source feeding your natural language. And let me reload. So just recapping, natural language query is you write something in English. The tool uses natural language, artificial intelligence, and machine learning to try to understand what the human typed. It will try to see in the model of the tool if it has parameters to answer that question, and assuming you articulated the question correctly, and the tool can understand your question and find the data points, it will build instantly and accurately a report for that question, answering that question. For instance, right now I'm looking at my sales data. I can look at any data in the data warehouse, but I'm looking at sales right now. I'm going to ask sales by salesperson in 2020. So I ask a question, the tool makes sense, give me some options like hits in a Google search. You choose the right one, and that's when the magic happens or the technology happens. The tool will build instantly, accurately a report showing by salesperson, sales, put in a descending order in 2020. This report did not exist before. It was created from scratch to answer my question. And I can go on, break it down by month. Again, select the right hit, click it. The tool will change, and now by salesperson is showing a line chart with sales based on the months of 2020. It's amazingly empowering. Maybe I don't like charts. I want to see a grid like in Excel. I can choose a different graphical representation. In this case, I'm going to choose text table. And now I see numbers by the penny. For some people, that's what they want. And some people use natural language to export to Excel. Let's say I can choose January numbers, all of them. And then I tell the tool, show me the data. So now I only have January data, but I want to see the underlying data, all the records, everything behind those numbers. And now I can export to Excel, and then quick and easy to get an answer using natural language, and then getting that data into Excel. So natural language, super empowering. It does not answer all the questions, just like Google, right, or Bing. But if it can answer, it will answer instantly and accurately. As long as you articulate the question correctly and the tool can connect the dots and answer, it's amazingly empowering. It is becoming better, every year this technology becomes better and better and better. Now, what I'm going to show you now next is what if natural language does not answer my question? How can I build more elaborate reports and dashboards? Well, that's how when you use the report editor, and I'm going to be showing Tableau report editor. But with this report editor and the Tableau functionality overall, you can build very elaborate, very complex reports and dashboards. And a lot of them actually is pretty easy. I'm going to show an easy example, but not a simple example. It's actually a fairly good example. I'm going to show how easy it is. I'm going to build a dashboard with two widgets, one showing sales by customer the last 2 years. And I also want to combine with the sales by territory, sales by ship to state. You want to make this a dashboard that is interactive, that I can point and click and filter things on the fly. So let me show how it works. So right now I'm looking at my sales data, and I want to see customer sales. So I take my customer, I put in my rows. By the way, I need to reload it. Take my customer and put in my rows. So there it is. These are my customers. I want to see sales. So I take sales and drag it to my report. Sales by customer. And I want to see by year for the past 2 years. So I take the invoice date and drag and drop into my columns. So right now I see sales by year. And I want to take my year and show as a filter. So now my filter is on the right, and I only want to see the last 2 years. It's pretty easy, huh? Drag and drop, and you can build reports. You can build a lot of reports using drag and drop like I just did. Many of our clients using Tableau, they saw a demo like this and they got the hang of it, and they became fairly sufficient in doing at least the 80% of the dashboards and reports that require 20% of the skill set. That's what this does really, really well. All right, so this is one of the reports. I want another one. I'm going to create a new sheet, like a new Excel tab. Just an example, I have the 2 sheets now. In the second one, I want to see ship to. I want to choose state. I want to choose sales. So I choose both state and sales. And I tell the tool, show me this on a map. And there it is. I have bigger sales, bigger bubbles. So I have sales by state using the bubble size as to represent the sales size. All right, and now I want to combine these 2 different reports or widgets into a single dashboard and make them interactive. Sure. I'm going to create now what's called a dashboard. I'm going to make the size automatic, meaning it's going to fit automatically the size of my screen, whatever my screen is. I want to just drag my first report anywhere in my dashboard area. In my second one, I want to drag and drop into the right quadrant right here. And that's my map right in the right quadrant. And that's it. I mean, it took me a few minutes to build both reports. I changed the layout. Now I'm going to save it. And I already have called demo report, but I'm going to save this report. And I am in the edit mode, so I can create things from scratch. Many users will not learn how to edit. They just want to consume reports and view reports. Let me get out of the edit mode to show how a regular user interaction would be. So let me click the exit button. So now I'm getting out of the report edit mode. I'm going to go back to the dashboard that I just created. So this is exactly what I just created. And as a user now, I could be opening this on a mobile device. And let's say, hey, I want to see how I'm doing on the West Coast. I could use my finger to select the West Coast states. And right there, it filters the rest of the dashboard to show me how I'm doing those states. Northeast of the country, middle of the country. So very easy to build and interact with these dashboards. So this is the power of someone building the report and dashboard, publishing it to a web portal. It can be in the cloud or it can be on premises, and then users can quickly and easily interact with it. Not only that, but one of the challenges of Sage 300 is to distribute reports to users. That process sometimes is time consuming. It's error prone. Have a lot of reports, so a lot of different users with security. With this framework, you as the admin can configure how to email reports automatically to people based on security credentials, or you can even let users define how they want to receive the reports. For instance, if I want to receive this report that I just created, like automatically, I can click subscribe button, and I tell, hey, I'm going to send this report to Clark, to Zach. I want to add myself. I want to receive only this report or the whole workbook. A workbook would be like a financial booklet with several tabs. Could be dozens of tabs, each tab covering a different area of my business. Absolutely, you can get the whole workbook emailed as a PDF. And I want to send this, let's say, weekly, Monday, 5 p.m. Pacific, subscribe. And that's it. From now on this schedule, this entire workbook will be refreshed and emailed to all of the people that have selected. So managing, maintaining, configuring report distribution usually becomes dramatically more automated than what most organizations are doing. When they look at something like this, they're spending a lot of time doing report distribution, and this can dramatically simplify the process. All right, there was a quick demonstration of Tableau pulling data out of a data warehouse. Now let's assume that you like this, you don't have it yet, and you'd like to know how you could move forward. There are 2 main approaches. You can do it yourself, or you can subscribe. If you do it yourself, first of all, be sure you have the right people to lead this process. You don't need rocket scientists. No, you don't. but you need people that understand your Sage 300, your other data sources. They understand, at least the basics of data warehousing, of also of the tool of your choice, Excel, Tableau, Power BI, whatnot, how to combine these pieces together, how to build reports and dashboards and onboard users. So people is a very important component of doing it yourself. Which tools are going to be using? So, the data warehouse framework, the reporting BI tools are going to be complementing your tools. Do your diligence to find the options. It takes time, do it yourself. I've seen usually it takes months to years to build a comprehensive reporting platform from scratch using data warehousing, these other tools. So it takes some time if you're starting from scratch. And ultimately, you got to see, is it going to be worth it? Going from scratch, how long is it going to take to get some results? Usually takes longer, and put the numbers and see if you're willing to go through the process. I know a lot of companies who do it successfully. And typically, if they do successfully, it's because of the people. If you find the right people that know what they're doing, you get the job done. If you do it with the right people, do your best to retain them, because a lot of failures in this project is if people don't stick around, and then sometimes the project dies because key people have left. So those are the pros and cons of doing it yourself. The alternative is to go with a subscription. Typically, with a subscription, you can get a lot of the things done in weeks, days, even minutes. So you can quickly get a hang of it. Will this work for me? You don't put a lot of money, you don't invest a lot of time. You see the result. Is it worth it? Put a little bit more money, a little bit more time, a little bit more money, a little bit more time. You can pull the plug if you think it's too much, and usually you don't burn a lot of time, a lot of cash. So subscription usually gives you a lot of possibilities to evaluate ROI as you go, invest more if it's working, pull the plug if it's not working. So that's a good benefit of trying the subscription first. Be sure that the company providing your BI provides ongoing support. Again, it's very hard to find people that knows all the components, Sage 300, data warehousing, analytics tools, know how to build reports, know how to onboard users. It's a lot of work. So hopefully the vendor provides you ongoing support to complement your resources so you can get the job done and maximize expertise of each party involved in the process. Also, I highly encourage to get vendors that provide you with a way to transition into do-it-yourself in case you decide to take it over in the future. We at DataSelf, we have many clients that eventually decide to hire a bunch of people and do everything in-house. DataSelf is one of the vendors. We absolutely provide industry-standard technology. It's SQL Server, it's Tableau, Power BI, Excel. If you want to remove DataSelf components or buy them, we let you go, we train you, and you take off. So having the possibility of being independent from the vendor in the long run is a major benefit, or there's a major backup plan in case the vendor doesn't prove to be of great value in the very long run. So check that out when you're subscribing to different vendors. All right. So all the things I covered so far, they are focused on the educational side of the webinar. Now I'm going to be talking specifically about DataSelf Analytics. We've been around for about 16 years, and Sage 300 was one of the first ERP systems that we tackled for BI purposes. So we have a lot of exposure, a lot of clients using DataSelf for Sage 300. This is the architecture of DataSelf Analytics. This would be your Sage 300 in other data sources. Again, Salesforce.com, HubSpot, Sage CRM, Google Analytics, payroll, point of sales, and whatnot. We use SQL Server as a data warehouse platform, and we can use the cloud-based system. You have nothing to install, very little things to install on premises, or you can also go full on-prem in case you want to retain control, everything behind your firewall. We use our own ETL that complements and usually replaces other ETL tools. I'll talk more about it in a minute. But ETL stands for extraction, transformation, and loading. Is the mainstream technology to do deployment and maintenance of data warehouses. We support Tableau, Power BI, and Excel as the analytics layer. We've been working with Tableau for about 11 years, with Power BI for about a year and a half. So we have a lot less exposure than Power BI. Nevertheless, we have an amazing platform for all of these three options. And if you go with Tableau, we have thousands of reports and dashboards pre-configured for a lot of different popular source systems besides Sage 300. Now, DataSelf ETL Plus, what's all the fuss about? Again, ETL Plus is this component here, extraction, transformation, loading. DataSelf at the heart, we are a ETL company, a data warehouse company. We've been doing this for 16 years. And 3 years ago, we realized and decided that the initial ETL was designed before the cloud. And even though it was working in the cloud, it was not beautifully working with the cloud. It could be so much better. And then we decided to let's design from scratch a new ETL that's going to completely be going forward-looking for the future, leveraging all the greatest and latest. Let's use our experience we have learned for the past 12 years or so with ETL, but let's not be backwards compatible. Let's be forward-looking. That's why this ETL Plus is such an amazing ETL. It's clean and lean. It's amazingly powerful. It's still young. It was launched last year, but whatever is already available is super empowering. I'm going to give a very quick overview of ETL Plus. The current version is still fairly technical, very focused on techies yet, but eventually we're going to have a web UI with wizard-driven interfaces, make it easier for non-techies or not very technical people. In the meantime, if you are technical enough, if you know SQL statements, this is amazing ETL. You can see on the left, right now I'm connected to a Sage 300 database. So you see all the raw tables, and you can have other data sources. In the middle, you have the tables that we have been added from the source into the data warehouse. In adding a table, super easy. You go to the table and you double click the table, and the table is automatically added to the UI. And because I think I'm having Zoom, it's taking a little longer, but there it is. The table has been added with all the fields, and it's done. That easy. Add a table, it's mapped. Here you have traditional SQL statement syntax. So if you know syntax, you can go crazy with it. Just to show some examples, this actually is a special table, the data warehouse, that is an aggregation of several other tables. It's just a SQL statement. You can link tables, you can do unions, you can do filters, you can do transformations, whatever you can do in SQL, you can do here, and the ETL will just execute it beautifully. Not only that, but we also have delta refreshes, meaning the first time we load the data, we bring all the data. So it might take some time to do the initial push, but then after we can do delta refreshes like I'm showing here. So in this case, is looking at an index in a date field to only bring records since the last refresh. So typically the first refresh may take a while, but on an ongoing basis, the refresh will run super duper fast. Just so an example, if I tell refresh now, and I click to refresh only the data warehouse, of course, I'm working with sample data, so it's going to be fast anyway, but even production system, the refresh is something that runs rather quickly and sometimes can run even during the day. As you run your transactions, it will not be taxed into Sage 300. It will run fast, and it will get the data to the cloud, and now you can do reporting out of the data warehouse and no longer affect the performance of your Sage system. So that's the ETL. Let me show you a little bit now, a quick demo of what else we provide besides data warehousing and ETL Plus. So let me go back here to my Tableau portal. And by the way, everything that I showed you so far has been using the DataSelf framework. I was showing the data warehouse, showing our data warehouse in the cloud. Then I showed you the Tableau connected to our data warehouse, you can drag and drop. Now I'm going to be showing you out-of-the-box reports and dashboards available with DataSelf. We have two main editions: the Advanced Analytics, which is simple and expensive. It takes 30 minutes to deploy. And I'm going to be talking a little bit about the enterprise, which is bigger with more options. So, but let me show you the advanced analytics. So this portal gives me a landing page that I have my sales from Sage 300, inventory management, manufacturing, if I'm manufacturing, financials. Then you can blend your data with, CRM, e-commerce, Google Analytics, payroll, and whatnot. And typically, you just pretty much point and click. Let's say I want to see my year-over-year sales. So you click the year-over-year sales, and then you go to this other tab that shows me sales this year in dark blue, last year, light blue, the variance in dollar and percentage. And right now, this year is 2020, and I'm only looking the first 6 months of the year. What if I want to compare the whole year? I can select all periods, press apply. And I'm comparing the full 2020 versus the full 2019. And I can see the variances. I can see the dark blue this year, how's it going? And the light blue the prior year. I can see ship by state. The red means is a decline. So New York has a 5% decline in sales since the prior year. I see my customers last year, this year in the variance, and the same thing for product, last year, this year in variance. Look, one of my customers has a major decline. What about it? I can click that customer and the whole dashboard will change to show the metrics only for that customer with all the trend analysis. And I can quickly see that this product alone is driving most of the decline for this customer. What's wrong with that? You might want to know, and now you have information to dig in. So this dashboard is very empowering, out of the box, and very interactive. The Pareto report for some businesses is super critical. Pareto is a way to look at the top 80%, the top 20% that affect your 80% of your results. So these customers, they represent 80% of the gross profit. This is the gross profit in a descending order, and this is the gross profit accumulating. And these customers below that are the light blue, they are not the 80% of your gross profit. And why this customer, which has a lot of sales, is not as profitable as the other customers? Good question. Or maybe you want to see by something else. Let's see by product. And now the report is showing by product, and oh my God, why this product has so much sales and almost no gross profit? Could be normal. Maybe you're retail, you're selling milk. Milk, you make almost no money because you want people to buy beer, right? So it's okay, but maybe sometimes it's not okay, and you don't know until you see this kind of trends. Out of the box report showing this ready to go. Another popular report that we have out of the box is the idea of, it's not showing here. Let's see if I can revert it. Is the idea of the daily flash. The daily flash idea is many management, they complain that it can take days, weeks, and sometimes months to find out that something important happened, something really good or something really bad. The daily flash, it can be sales, it can be purchasing, inventory, payroll, financials, it can be any area. The idea is to keep your management informed on a timely fashion. Maybe this could be the numbers from yesterday or today's numbers, and to see the big metrics and then the drill down into the subsections to tell people what's happening. We have this out of the box in many different areas. Let me show a couple of other reports. AR aging. For some businesses, it's super important to keep track of your AR aging. You see visually, big picture, big numbers, different charts, all the details. And hey, I only want to see what's old, 30 to 90 days. I select only those 3 buckets, and now the whole dashboard only focuses on where the money is coming from, by due date, by salesperson, by customer, and all the details. Oh, look at this. This customer has most of my late invoices. I select the customer, and then it will filter the whole thing. It should have also filtered my aging details in my demo here. Oh, there it is. Now it's filtering only for this widget and show me all the invoices that are late. So super duper to get to the answer. My last example here, financial reports. The enterprise analytics provides full-blown financials to replace your P&L and balance sheet in case you're not too happy with them. Advanced Analytics, which is an expensive product, is a complement to your P&L and balance sheet. So we're not replacing yet. We're just providing you with visual ways to look at your financial data, your ratios, your charts, and whatnot, but very interactive. All right. So there was a quick demo of DataSelf Analytics. What about how long it takes to deploy and pricing of DataSelf Analytics? So first of all, again, Advanced Analytics, which is the entry-level product, it takes 30 minutes to deploy. So primarily, I think everything that I showed you today is part of Advanced Analytics. Everything that I showed in my presentation, the whole thing is part of the DataSelf Analytics framework. It's very popular since we have deployed it. Most customers are Advanced Analytics deployed in 30 minutes, and the price starts at $3.99 per month. So that's very simple. If you have bigger problems, multiple databases, multi-currency, complex reporting requirements, this usually a small number of clients, might need to go enterprise. In enterprise, takes about 30 days to deploy, and the pricing starts at $14.99. Usually 20% of the clients stay on this bucket. 80% of the clients are using Advanced Analytics. So this is very popular. What's next? If you want to learn more about DataSelf and data warehousing, absolutely visit our website. We have a lot of information. Feel free to email us and call us. We are a bunch of data geeks. We're super excited about people looking to be more, data hungry. So we like to educate, to give some thoughts on how you can be more successful. And if we're a good fit, we absolutely can provide a lot of value quickly. So we are a bunch of, exciting people that love to help, and we do our best. We're not perfect, but boy, in this market, we've been around the longest, I think, or one of the few BI vendors that's been around for a long time, and we use Gartner level technology. Our technology is used by Fortune 2000, so it's very empowering and amazing to work with our technology and in our team. You can order DataSelf directly with your VAR, with your Sage VAR, or you can contact us directly. You can even order Advanced Analytics direct on our website. You just go there, go to Sage 300, deploy now, fill out the form, put credit card, and pretty much you'll get an email with instructions, and pretty much in 30 minutes, the system will come up and running. So very easy to get the ball rolling. All right. Before I open the questions and answers, just a quick overview of DataSelf. So DataSelf has pre-configured data warehouse reports and dashboards for Sage 300 and many other systems. It's easy to use and easy to customize. Pretty much run all reports in seconds, no matter how much data you have. It automates reporting tasks. So most of the labor-intensive reporting tasks will be gone once this framework is up and running. And the tools we use, they are Gartner endorsed BI components. I mean, all the components we use, except ETL Plus, it's off the shelf. And ETL Plus is a SQL-based tool. So if one day you decide to decommission ETL Plus and build your own or use one ETL, you can copy the statements from the ETL Plus into whatever you want and run with it. So we don't keep you hostage. We make you successful with BI. Having said that, let me see if there's any questions. We're running out of time. There's one question here from Phoenix. What is the price for 15 users? Phoenix, we go back here quickly to dataself.com. So go to dataself.com, go to Sage 300, and then scroll down on this page. You're going to see the pricing sheet. And then you can see how the pricing works, or call us or email us in case you have more questions. Folks, we're running out of time, so I'm going to wrap it. We are actually recording this webinar, and you're going to be receiving an email with the link to the recording. So feel free to share it. Feel free to reach out and contact me or call us. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time today. I hope you stay safe and well. Have a great day. Thank you.